Don't wait before it's too late, you guys. To all the aspiring students out there, you've made the right choice for your future. And also to everyone who's watching right now, welcome to iCAN, the world of possibilities. In my first video, we talked about 10 reasons why I chose Canada to be my study destination. I'd recommend you to watch that part so you don't miss the flow of events. And also, so you don't miss out on anything, I'd recommend you to hit that subscribe button and slam that notification bell so you'll get notified when my next video is out. Also, don't forget to share this video with your close friends to help my channel grow. In today's episode, I'm going to take you to a journey with me. A journey that began with that initial step that all of you are going to take sooner or later, my successful journey from an international student to now a Canadian permanent resident. Also, I'll be sharing 10 tips for international students with you as I go along. I hope you'll find them helpful, useful, and informative. It's often been said that the journey to 1,000 miles begins with a single step. This reminds me of how long it took me to finally decide to take that single step to move to Canada. But any ventures, no matter how long and difficult, have a starting point, something that begins with one first step. Life is indeed full of surprises. There was a time in the summer of July 2016 when I decided to leave my second home in Dubai due to a life-changing event that happened to me. And I had to take that one big step when I saw that sign come out, which I'm going to briefly talk about with you right now. It was not a good sign, as many of you might be thinking, but it was rather a terrifying one. I was a targeted victim of robbery at my place of residence in Dubai. I could not report the incident to the police because as a trans woman, there could have been some consequences for me. So, after that harrowing event, I took that big move to look around for a better and safer place for me to live in. I had 4 choices in mind: Europe, Australia, New Zealand, or Canada, which are all trans-friendly. I found Canada to be the most attractive, not only because it was safe for me, but it also had the fastest and most population immigration opportunities among the rest of my options. After exhausting my means exploring different immigration pathways, including express entry, Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program, business immigration, and sponsorship, but unfortunately, I was ineligible to any of these programs at that time. My heart sank within me, but that did not stop me as I was so determined to pursue my plans. One day, as I was browsing on the net, I stumbled across a Facebook group where I met a Good Samaritan, Maricel Maraganas, if you're watching right now, hi there, who opened my eyes to the student pathway, which I might be eligible for and easier for me. As usual, I did my homework and reached out to different resources to get more information and hear what they're saying. Like many of you, I thought at first this was way too expensive for me, so I had to put that in the back burner for some time. After a year or so of waiting, I finally made up my mind. Not only that Canada was a cheaper option, but also because of Canada's high quality of life and lower cost of living compared to its competitors. Canada has a universal healthcare system, and it is a free market economy, unlike Dubai, which is a federal monarchy. Tip number 1. If you're thinking of moving here, don't hold back. Do it right away. Don't waste your time, and you don't want to wait until the last minute. I could kick myself for waiting too long to make up my mind. So I'll leave that to you guys. Being someone that finds it hard to make a big decision, one lesson I learned is that I should have not waited for a year or so, rather grab the opportunity as it came. I will tell you the reasons why in the next video, so watch out for that. I again did my homework and proceeded in applying for my letter of acceptance to the college of my choice. Luckily, I got accepted. Boom! And the next step was to apply for a study permit. Mind you guys, I did all these steps DIY. I did not get helped by any agency or lawyer with my application, but I explored some resources available for free. It is very important to connect to the right resources, and it was all worth it. So, one early morning, while sipping a hot cup of coffee before work, I received an email that went like this. My heart jumped for joy upon seeing that good news. My application was approved. It didn't take that long. I got it in 10 days. Born in the Philippines, lived and worked in Dubai for 8 years, I took a leap of faith and touched down at Toronto Pearson International Airport in December of 2018. With butterflies in my stomach and a glimmer of hope in my eyes that I will make it big here in Canada in my own little ways. But behind that excitement, I had a funny feeling, finding it hard to believe that I had to start my life again from scratch. Knowing the fact, however, that this is going to be exciting and fun and that I will be in safe hands comforted me. So I went to Fanshawe College in London, Ontario, where I studied tourism and hospitality operations management for 2 years. Why I chose Fanshawe? Well, it was because it was offering a 2-year program in hospitality and tourism management related to my professional experience in Dubai. You might want to visit educanada.ca if you want to learn more about different programs offered in schools here in Canada. Tip number 1. Choose a college listed under the designated learning institutions. What is a DLI or designated learning institution? It is a school approved by a provincial or territorial government to host international students, meaning it is a PGWP or postgraduate work permit eligible designated institution that entitles you up to 3 years work permit after graduation if you meet all the criteria, being that you completed a study program and maintained a full status as a student in Canada each semester of your study program. My program had a paid 1 semester internship that landed me my first Canadian work experience. Tip number 1.5. If you're considering a program of study, look for one that has a co-op or cooperative education, or what we call practicum, or otherwise known as on-the-job training, where you don't only get high-quality practical training, but you also get a paid full-time work experience for 4 months, which can take care of some of your bills, of your living expenses, or a part of your tuition, which is really, really amazing. My college was a 30-minute drive away from where I was staying, so I thought about getting a license. With my driving experience in Dubai, I luckily passed the road test and got my Ontario full G license in one go. Imagine that. Tip number 3. For those of you who are planning to buy a car, bring a driving experience certificate with you from your country of origin and all countries you drove, as it would count towards your Canadian driver's license. Car is a necessity here as it was in Dubai, so carry all those papers with you if you don't want to start all over again from learners. Tip number 4. I recommend you book your road test appointment at a testing center in a smaller community so that you don't get too overwhelmed with the busy traffic in bigger cities like Toronto. And here's tip number 4.5. Putting on winter tires is recommended, especially if you haven't driven in blowing snow before, and if you're settling in the East Coast, which snows a lot, such as Newfoundland and Labrador, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick, or in the central Canada, that includes Ontario and Quebec. Quebec and British Columbia are the 2 provinces where winter tires are mandatory. I'd recommend you check the requirements of the province you're in. When it comes to instruction, Canada is recognized for its quality education at all levels, so it is indeed an investment in you or in your children. I'd say that the system is a lot easier here than it is in the Philippines. The education system here encourages practical learning and critical thinking, so expect loads of class presentations and interactive learning, which are super fun. The good thing here is it is definitely not a memorization learning, which I am not a fan of. I successfully completed the requirements of the degree and graduated in August of 2020 with flying colors. I was so proud of myself, I did it. When I received my letter of completion, I then applied for my PGWP immediately. Tip number 5. It is recommended to take a 2-year program, as you may be eligible for up to 3 years of postgraduate work permit as opposed to just 1-year program with 1-year PGWP. Why is that? Well, the answer is simple. You have longer time to stay in Canada while working on your permanent residence eventually and gaining your Canadian experience. Fast forward to the present, almost 4 years have passed since then, and I am back on my feet in my much loved and adopted hometown of Vancouver, British Columbia, where I got my permanent residence status. Again, all DIY. Indeed, life has come full circle for me. I've never been so much happier in Canada, being my new home. People here are a lot friendlier and more open, and even strangers offer to help you out. For newcomers like you, it helps when you, tip number 6, show up, explore the community. You must always show up no matter what. For you to explore what's out there, you have to get out there. Know the local business community. And tip number 7, connect with people. Build relationships in your own professional network. They might be able to help you get an interview for a job that you might be interested in. In Canada, about 70 to 80% of job listings are not made public. This is referred to as the hidden jobs market. What does it mean? Those who find jobs in this hidden market are individuals who effectively network with other people. The other 20% of jobs are posted online, will be a maze of confusion and fierce competition with multitudes of candidates already ahead of you. Tip number 8. Plan for your PR early, or I'd say be always PR ready. My advice would be to know early on whether you're going to apply for permanent residence. If you decide that you're going to apply, then you really have to make a plan and stay on top of things. You only have so much time after graduation, so you should start looking for a job before you graduate. Understand the requirements for your PR and figure out how you're going to get the necessary work experience. The earlier you set your goal, the better. In my case, it meant prioritizing PR over my dream job, at least in the short term. Keep your eyes on your objectives. Be patient and persistent. and the opportunities will come your way. Tip number 9. Take care of your mental health. In many cultures, mental health isn't really talked about. It's not treated the same as physical health. When you move to a new country, especially if you're moving alone, you will get homesick. It's a process that everybody goes through, so be ready for that. My advice to any international student having any mental health issues, especially as we are balancing a digital and an offline life, is to speak out. Schools provide counselors. It's absolutely confidential. There's nothing wrong with needing help. It's part of life. Schools in Canada provide exceptional support services in mental health. It's actually prioritized, and it is crucial for your well-being. Being physically active helps too. And the last but not the least, tip number 10. I came to Canada from Dubai. Banking and finances are a little bit different. Here, your bank account comes with responsibility. Your credit score is essential for everything from buying a house to starting a business. So start your credit history, use your credit card and keep it consistent to maintain your good credit. Information and education are your best friends when dealing with finance. But I don't want to dig deep down into it. It's not really my forte. You've heard the story of my journey to Canada, from student to resident, and 10 tips for international students to keep in mind. I'm so excited to hear yours soon. Don't wait before it's too late, you guys. Again, this is Mentor Bella reminding you that I got you covered and that if I can, you can.